of the regulatory bank. So they are for different things. Some are for you've done business with your partners in China, they've made payments here to get to your account. Some are in transit, some already have commitment for other things. Some are encrypted, some are been used as security for other transactions and co. So at the end of the day, if you say, for instance, you have a foreign reserves of $30 billion, what is not encumbered? What is available for federal government or the state government from the oil proceeds and co, will just be another $6 billion or thereabouts. So we have a situation whereby what is actually available for international transactions now is less than probably $4 or $5 billion out of the entire foreign exchange. They have all kinds of transactions, financial transactions, that commitments that have been made against the foreign exchange reserves. So
we, Nigeria, continued to dip in our foreign reserves because there was nowhere else to turn.
For instance, people have paid for airline tickets from all over the world. The airline companies have not been able to recover their money because their money is locked up somewhere within the banking system. They have paid. The only option, you have to give them naira, and they don't need your naira. They have to repatriate their money back in form of convertible currency, probably dollars or pound sterling or whatever they want. They have over $800 million trapped in that already. So we are talking about all kinds of inhibitions on the little available dollars which we have. And in this case, the finance minister is saying, if we don't settle this, there is no way we can move ahead. But basically, when we look at it all together, the problem which we have, I'll describe it as this: Nigeria is dollar broke.
Okay.
Unquote.
And so when the dollar is called upon, we don't
have to meet our immediate obligations for foreign transactions.
Okay. Johnson, let me come to you now. There's a question I've always wondered about. People talk about overdue forward payments. Now, the classroom aspect of it, very, very elementary, is that this is supposed to be a deals that were made earlier, to pay an agreed rate at a future date. So I wanted to ask you, Johnson, when were these deals made, and how were they made that now we are talking about an overdue forward payment?
Okay, thank you, Uncle. I actually wanted to start from that point because you asked that question pointedly, and we needed to, for the benefit of the audience, make them understand what a forward deal is, a forward transaction is. A forward transaction is a contractual obligation entered into by two parties, with one party promising to deliver either goods or services or currency to the other party at a determined rate, at a future determined date.
Yes.
So in that case, the central bank had entered into contracts, and because the central bank was selling dollar in forward, which means it was saying, look, I will deliver to you dollar maybe at the end of September this year,
yes,
2023. So in the course of its business, the course of normal business, central bank had introduced forward transactions, which allowed it to delay delivery of dollars to a future date. It could work in this way because why people take it on is, look, I'm going the contract in Nigeria, but I want to be sure that dollar will be delivered to me in June this year. And I enter into a contract and pay a fee to get that dollar delivered to me in June. So when June comes, I should have that dollar delivered to me. So if the dollar is not delivered to me in June, that dollar qualifies as overdue or matured forwards that have not been redeemed or cleared. And because in the course of its normal lender of last resort, it had been entering into several of these forwards. And those forwards were timed at different periods. So we are talking of those that are due for settlement that have not been settled. So it's not a contract that was entered on a single day. It was a contract that was entered over a period of time with different maturity dates. But as long as they keep maturing and not being paid, it becomes obligated to pay them. But the most important thing we must take away from this is that when people are in a hole and they can't come out, nobody wants to go into that hole. If a building is collapsing and the outlets, the routes you can come out, or a stadium is collapsing and the doors you can come out from are all blocked, nobody wants to see, even if there's a window that's open, to go into that window. And that's why the emphasis has been, we need to clear the arrears of forward transactions so that we will give investors the confidence that when they come in here, they won't be trapped. If you have people who are trapped, nobody wants to go and test whether they'll be trapped. And that's the message that we must bear in mind.
And that is why the Minister of Finance was saying that once the overdue contracts are settled. Now, let me bring that back to the studio here. As we've just heard, it's like almost like an impossible race, almost technically. And but he's saying once it is settled. So he said at the time that a number of measures were being engaged with. So having known how difficult it is to come out from such an, it's almost, let me be very careful with my economic expressions here. It's not exactly a debt overhang, but let me just call overdue forward payments. How do we get out of that? What are the even classical explanations for how to achieve that very, very difficult feat?
I think historically we didn't just get to this point overnight. Mm-hmm. We've had 8 challenging years where we couldn't,
as Johnson was saying, incrementally till we got to this place.
Define the dynamics of our foreign exchange management. How do you want to do to make sure that we manage the circumstance in a way that it won't hurt the economy, it won't hurt operators, it won't hurt foreign investors. Like you said, the most important thing the investors look at for is the safety of their investments. As a when you can transfer your investments, you can transfer the capital, you can take decisions based on what you think is best for you. Mm-hmm. But in this case, we have, even the airlines can't take their money out. Major investors can't take their money out. Their money is practically trapped. So you begin to wonder how we go.
It's trapped in the sense that it's on the books as you owe me, but I can't
cash back in
get
for it.
hold of it.
You can't say, for instance, I've sold airline tickets amounting to $1 million. I need my $1 million immediately.
We are not in a position
to. You can't talk to Zenith Bank and say transfer immediately $1 million.
We are not in that position.
We are not in that position. So the truth is Nigeria is dollar broke.
Yes, as you said.
Put it that way. We are not generating enough dollars to fund our foreign operations, foreign transactions. And you see, towards the tail end of the last government, the whole world got to know that our major sources of foreign exchange had declined aggressively, progressively over the years, to the extent that we were doing maybe 800,000 barrels of oil in a day instead of our OPEC target of about 2 million, approximately 2 million barrels. So everything that could go wrong went wrong with the economy, and it's so bad that people can't come in and go out as they want. So what CBN and the president must do at this particular time is to make sure that they clean up the mess, pay off all obligations, whether you're an airline, whether you're an investor, you're an importer, exporter. When you clear that off, then you begin to tell people that whatever you are bringing in, it's safe.
It's safe. Now, that's not... Johnson, I'm coming back to you. That option, of course, it seems logical, but the devil is, of course, in the details. How we're going to achieve that coming out of this, this overdue forward payment situation that we have on our hands here? I've just heard that it's simply that we're dollar broke. We are simply not generating enough dollars. How long is this going to go on? Because we can't wait forever. President Tinubu is busy inviting people to come in because this is the place to do business. But businessmen around the world are looking at these details and are saying, indeed, with due respect, I hear what you're saying, but it's money I'm bringing, and it doesn't look good in Nigeria at the moment. Is that stating it too crudely?
I think the way it is, like I said earlier, that nobody will go into a trap hole. You must be out of your mind to do that. So that's basically why any effort now at bringing foreign portfolio investors will not achieve much results. there's a lot of difference between verbal commitment and final investment decision, where the investor has taken assessed all the risk and has made financial commitment to really invest. The multilateral lending agencies could be, those have that kind of capacity to support us at the likes of IMF, World Bank. So we may need to go to IMF, World Bank, and then seek for balance of payment support or any form of lending that they can provide to us. And then possibly agree on a 20-year concessionary loan. Possibly, by the time we determine what is outstanding, maybe we have 10 billion, maybe we have 15 billion outstanding. Then we go for something above what we have outstanding, so that we also have the liquidity to stimulate the market and restore confidence. So that's the way out.
Okay, thank you very much, Johnson. At this stage, stay with us, please. We'll just take a quick break. We'll be right back.
Doubt and fear doesn't occur at the canvas, it shows in the canvas. It shows the conation of raw earthen material slabbed, stroked and molded at a pace provided by the doubt and fear. Every move way in the struggle of one to the other, merging the past to the present, brushstrokes of
Well, welcome back. That was quicker than I had thought. Our guests are Mr. Johnson Chukwu, economist and CEO of Cowrie Assets Management Limited. He joins us from his office, as you can see, via Zoom. And we have Mr. Kayode Oyedeji, economist, in the Lagos studio here. And we're looking at the statement of the finance minister blaming in part, perhaps a large part, the $6.8 billion on overdue, outstanding on overdue forward payments as a problem. And it's been said that once that can be cleared, the minister said that. So let me take it to another area. And first of all, I wanted to stop at the juncture of the president has been saying that, he said it abroad especially, that look, he's collapsed the twin dollar,
exchange rates.
Yes. So the I&E, the import and export window, and there's no black market. It's supposed to be parallel, but it's not. It's not. I said at the top of the program, unless you know better, that we're at slightly over 1,000 to the naira, yet the official rate is around the 800 naira mark. So since the president has said that, what is responsible for that? Let me ask you first. What is responsible for that fact?
Well, I think one unfortunate side of the foreign exchange market in Nigeria is that we've not been able to deal with the plurality of markets which we've had over the years. Before I say that, I'd like to say that these problems have been on ground for decades. And subsequent governments refused to do the right thing. We have a black market that is practically not ideal or illegal or whatever we'll call it, but it's more efficient than the official markets. And unfortunately, over the years, it has gained reputation, quote unquote, to develop capacity to determine the trends in the economy. It has the capacity to determine the price of the naira itself, to define everything about the naira. The black market, the way it works, once buyer and seller interface, a deal is struck. But the official market is more rigorous. You have a lot of documentation to do. You have to probably go to your bank and to do all kinds. But once you make a call to a black market operator, I need dollars, you will be able to consummate a transaction. So it's more effective, unfortunately. It's only in Nigeria that you see people doing that kind of thing.
And this is coming from the very official quarters that the banks, just about every bank in this country has a currency dealer attached to it.
It is somewhere in the bank.
Yes, he's an unofficial attaché.
Yes.
And so this illegal business is going on.
It will continue to go on for a while. So when the president said he has collapsed all multiple exchange rates, good one for Nigeria. what we now have, we have a market, we have a rate that everybody can relate with, that the market can relate with. Then we also have the black market. Unfortunately, we've not been able to adequately fund the official markets. If you walk to banking hall and say, I want to buy PTA or whatever now, they will tell you it's not available.
Yes.
The moment it's not available and you must have it, to go to your black markets.
That currency dealer up front there somewhere.
You begin to wonder.
The money of which was provided for him by the very bank that is telling you.
The very bank or from diaspora remittances.
Yeah.
So what the CBN needs to do critically and quickly, they have to streamline the whole thing. Make sure they find a way to shrink the big. They always claim it's just 5% of foreign exchange markets, but ideally we all know it's more than that. And if it's just 5%, we know the potency is having overriding impact on the entire market. Government was beginning to look, number one solution, find a way, like my boss has said,
yes, Johnson,
find a way to make sure that you sort out the immediate pressing demand for dollars. The obligations are settled, whether you go to multilateral agencies or you do what the President Tinubu has been doing lately, talking to governments and presidents for intervention. It's not just roaming about the streets of the world. It's going there to negotiate for interventions, not just for investments. Get foreign investment that can help you to immediately offload the backlog of overdue obligations. Then in the medium term, begin to look at more fundamental issues, how you grow the economy, how you streamline CBN operations in such a way that every kobo, every dollar cent coming in dovetails into the banking system for effective management, for regulatory efficiency, and all that. But before that, we must be able to clear the backlog before we can even talk about moving ahead.
Let me then go back to come back to you, Johnson. When the central bank governor was being interviewed in the Senate, I think it was Senator Oshiomhole who had expressed his concern that, look, the CBN governor is coming in highly loaded, but for all of that, his experience is is in the commercial sector of banking. And even though he gave the assurance that, look, he has a reputation for detailed, processes and being a stickler for detail and all of that, Senator, Oshiomhole had said that a commercial approach, I think he was fearing that it might be inevitable, whereas that's not what is required in Nigeria. The official rate of around 800 naira now, using this example, is what really should be developed. Could you speak to that and that concern of Senator Oshiomhole that commercial bank experienced people see things differently from central bank policy people?
Okay, I think what he was talking about is about the academic background of and the professional experience of the CBN governor. I'm not sure I know his academic background, what he studied in his first degree and second degree, and I think he has a doctorate degree. But what
forgive me, Johnson, I beg your pardon for interrupting you. I'm going to come straight back to you, but we have a caller on the line. Good morning, Mr. George. Good morning, Mr. George. Good morning. Mr. George,
I'm hearing you very faintly.
Now I just heard you now. Thank you for holding on.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can. Please go ahead.
All right. Yes, good morning to your guests. And Uncle Yori, if what we are hearing about the ongoing probe at CBN is anything to go by, there is need to take a second look at the components of this $6.8 billion that we are talking about settling. Letters of credit that were issued, where services were not rendered, a situation where an airline charges 3 times what he charges other countries in Africa to come to Nigeria. If you are traveling from London to Lagos, you will pay 3 times against what the person traveling from the same London to Accra is paying. But all those things, I think it is rather too late to do something about this current one. But going forward, the Minister of Finance and the CBN governor must shine their eyes about all these commitments that brings about this indebtedness.
So forgive me for interrupting you. I wanted to understand, are you therefore suggesting an audit of the given figure around $6.8 billion overdue forward payments? Are you virtually calling
Sorry, I couldn't hear you.
Did I understand you? Is that what you're saying, that it probably needs to be audited so we know the veracity of that figure? Is that what you're saying? Well, I think I've lost Mr. George. Let me return to you, Johnson. Sorry for interrupting you, but I wanted to. He had been holding on for a long time. So you were explaining this whole matter about what the experience of the managers of central bank would be or should be, and how important it is.
What I was saying is that you have to look at the academic professional background of the CBN governor nominee, as I did now confirmed. And like he said, the CBN central bank is a policy institution, not a for-profit institution. Commercial banks are for-profit institutions. Commercial banks primarily only to lend, take deposit, and lend to those who want money. Central bank is about defining the policies that determine the price level and also sustain what we call financial system stability. Those are the primary roles of the central bank. Lending, which it does to the federal government as lender of the last resort, is just a secondary role of the central bank. Of course, policy management and all those things. So central bank is driven by policy. Like I said, I don't have details of Dr. Cardoso's academic background, but Nigeria's history is replete with central bank governors who came from commercial banks, right from the days of Oguma to the days of the senior Sanusi, to Sanusi Lamide Sanusi, and now Godwin Emefiele. They all came from commercial banks. So I don't think the problem we have is that the person who is superintending the affairs of the central bank is coming from commercial bank. It's all about what's the person's academic and professional background. Is the person policy oriented? Once you assume that role, you have to divest yourself of your commercial banking experience, and then you have to unlearn and relearn policy management. But it's important if you understand economic issues. It's important if you have an economic background, so you understand how the interplay of the market variables, the price levels, and also understand that once you touch a major variable on the macroeconomic environment, it has multiplying effect on other variables, and you should understand how they interact and interface with each other. It's necessary you have that background. It will help you in understanding policies and implementing policies, taking decisions and implementing policies. So what he was saying in summary is that central banks are policy institutions, commercial banks are for-profit organizations, and that we should not confuse both. Those who should run the central bank should have sound background on policy, particularly as it relates to macroeconomic policies or monetary policies. So if you understand that, you can run the central bank.
Yes. All right then. Good morning, Mr. Taiwo in Lekki. Thank you for holding on. Go ahead now.
Yeah, thank you very much for the opportunity. This is my first time of coming in.
We're delighted to have you on.
Yeah, thank you very much. I really always enjoy your this morning. Yeah, I want to just follow up to Mr. George. The question I was saying is that they need to really audit all this question of $6.8 billion that is it. We need to do audit. In addition to that, the generating entities, like even NNPC Limited, what the government need to do is that they should not all those there now. They were doing the total wrong thing. I won't lie to you. I work in that organization for 32 years. So what they need to do that they should restructuring totally, so that the federal government or the president can get the first hand of what is happening. Removing the vice president executive and leaving the group CEO. I'm telling you, sir, because why is it now? that they are developing a lot of what do they call it now? Detecting a lot of crude oil theft. He was there as a GGM there for 8 years because before he became the GMD, before he became the. So they know all those things. They let them go and make a fresh. And the president needs to support himself. People that can tell him the right thing. Because majority of Nigerians, they will tell lies in order to buy his own favor. Please, who are very close, they should take it because the president has a very good mind for Nigeria. But whatever is happening now, 1,000 plus for $1. But however, the previous government has done, we cannot, but government is a continuum.
All right, then.
Please.
Thank you.
Overall, even NNPC, they should not leave anything.
Thank you very much, Mr. Taiwo.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Appreciate your calling in. Stay with us, please. We'll take a break. We'll be right back.
Coming up in the month of September. On the 5th is International Day of Charity, while the 7th of September is International Day of Police Cooperation. The 8th is International Literacy Day. Also on the 8th is 1 year remembrance of Queen Elizabeth II's death. 10th September is World Suicide Prevention Day. On the same day is 1 year anniversary of when Prince Charles was proclaimed king. On the 11th of September, it's 22 years after the World Trade Center was attacked by terrorists in the United States in 2001. 15th September is International Day of Democracy, while the 16th is International Day for the Preservation of the Ozone Layer. 21st September, International Day of Peace, and 23rd is dedicated as International Day of Sign Languages. 27th September is set aside as World Tourism Day, and 28th is World Maritime Day. On the 29th is International Day of Awareness of Food Loss and Waste. Stay tuned to TVC News as we bring you reports and analysis of these events. TVC News, first with breaking news.
The TVC News at 7 and the TVC News at 10 are not like any other news broadcast.
It's the big news hour, the hour for the big breaking stories.
We've got some of the best reporters on the field,
Taking you through as it happened,
it's fast-paced, hard-hitting,
with investigations that matter,
bringing in news that affects your life.
with sports, entertainment and business news, so you don't miss a thing.
Experience resourceful coverage with depth.
Every night.
That in a situation where most of the things we use in this country are imported, Nigeria is seemingly an import-oriented country. And as a result, the only the legal tender that is appreciated to do the bidding is always the dollar. There is no how any other money will not be low than the dollar. So if Nigeria as it is now, under the able leadership of President Tinubu, should fix, for instance, our refineries so that Nigeria can be in position to produce largely the quantum of fuel we use in this country, you can understand that the need for dollar exchange will drastically reduce. And by the time the need for dollar exchange reduces, naturally, the price will come down drastically as well. So these are the areas the government must look into if actually they want to tame the high rise of the dollar against the naira.
Okay.
Thank you very much, and God bless you.
Thank you too, sir. Johnson, let me come back to you. Since the question has come up a couple of times now, two callers have urged an investigation of that figure of $6.8 billion on overdue forward payments. Where is the accounting for this thing? I think people just have lost trust, shall we say, and are saying that, look, can you please audit it, query it? Let us be sure that it is actually 6.8 billion. What does that say to you? First of all, is that a doable thing?
Well, I think you just hit on a nail. There is what we call trust deficit that Nigerians have been so badly dealt by the public service that they doubt anything coming from the public service. So the issues about forward deals, they are contractual in nature, and each contract will be specific, and each contract will have its own file, properly documented, the underlying transaction, the exchange that took place, and the commitment that was made. So it doesn't require any rocket science to audit it. I guess the reports will be there, and like I said, each of these transactions should ordinarily be properly documented and indexed to a particular customer or supplier or beneficiary. So it shouldn't be something that is debatable.
Oh, okay.
Of course, like I said, in Nigeria, it's a trust deficit without everything.
Okay.
I think one of the questions also referred to letters of credit. For every letter of credit that was established, several things have to take place. The Form M must be established. Documentary credit established. Bill of lading received. Customs clearance obtained, and other things. So unless if all those things are forged, then we're in a banana republic. But I don't think the debate should be whether the amount is correct. I guess before the minister made that comment, or the CBN governor made that comment, the minister made that comment, he should be fully abreast of the outstanding transactions.
Okay, hope that reassures those viewers, those two viewers in particular. Reverend Dominic, calling in from Alimosho. Good morning to you, sir.
Good morning, Chief Yori. Good morning to your two guests over there. Yori, since I'm a layman and I'm a layman in economics, I want to ask your two guests this question, and I plead that you allow them to answer it. Why is it difficult? If you can hear what I said, I say I will allow you. I would like you to allow your two guests to answer my question. Since I'm a layman in economics, why is it difficult to stop black market in Nigeria? Why is it difficult to stop a black market in Nigeria? Why is it difficult for you to stop black market? Hence, everybody, since the days of Buhari now, I know that these black marketers are not helping matters. But why is it difficult for you to stop it? And it's still thriving. You want $200 in the bank, you will get it. You want $1,000 outside the same bank. As it happened 2 weeks ago to pay my son's school fees somewhere. The same bank, I woke up from the same bank, I got $500. But in my bank, in fact, if you see the information they get to me, the forms to fill, it's good that you don't fill it at all. But outside the same bank, I get $500 easily, somewhere, somehow. But inside bank, to get $100 was difficult. Why is it difficult to stop black market in Nigeria? I think that's simple.
All right, then. Thank you very much, Reverend Dominic. Since that is our topic, the Naira's slide, and the finance minister has said that the 6.8 billion on overdue forward payments is partly responsible. Okay, would you like to take a first stab at the question? Why is it impossible to prevent what effectively is a criminal, affair?
Well, the black market takes advantage of the supply gap. In the foreign exchange market, it's filling a vacuum, which unfortunately over the years, the banking system has not been able to address. If I need dollars, for instance, I want to go on holidays, if I'm able to approach my bank and I get dollars on the counter, it's solved. But if I can't get it there, I'll go to the black market. So it's about supply. It's a supply
issue. But I think the import of the question, Reverend Dominic is asking is that the currency dealers get this agents. They get it from the bank.
They get it from the bank. They get it from the diaspora and remittances and all that.
But it never comes to them directly, does it?
It's just one thing.
Okay.
The volume of foreign exchange outside the banking system too is significant, and government must do something about it. even in African countries like South Africa, it's almost illegal for you to go to a corner and exchange currency.
But
it's happening here.
But it happened in Nigeria before, didn't it?
Yes, it is. But what government must do now has reached a point that even policies, even force, may not be able to address the problem. Okay. Government must actively find a way, address the supply problem, then begin to migrate through incentives and policies, transactions in the black market to the official channels.
Yes.
And a lot of things are involved. For instance, we are talking about smuggling. Smuggling is funded by the black markets. As long as your borders are porous, there will be smuggling. As long as you have smuggling, you've provided incentives for people to trade on your currency outside the banking system, because banking won't fund smuggling. So a lot of factors are involved.
Yeah, but smuggling then brings in laundering, doesn't it?
Laundering and all the likes. So a lot of things, it's interwoven. Government must be able to say, why do people go? Why do people go to the black markets?
Okay.
And they must be able to address those reasons and make sure that they make those transactions, if possible, to be done in the official channels. That's number one. If those transactions are illegal, they must be able to ensure effective border policing to make sure that people don't do illegal transactions that would make the black markets effective or attractive.
Okay. I wanted to come to you also, Johnson, in case you wanted to add anything to that particular question posed by the viewer of why is it so difficult to, wipe out the black market. But let me first of all take Mr. Mohammed, who has called in from Apapa. Good morning to you. Mr. Mohammed in Apapa, are you there? Good morning, sir.
Yes. Good morning, Uncle Yori.
Thank you for calling in.
And your guest.
Go ahead, please.
Yes. Uncle Yori, the problem is very simple, Uncle Yori.
Okay.
Yeah. There should be a handshake between the CBN and the Ministry of Finance. You understand? The Ministry of Finance being responsible for the financial, for the fiscal policy, and then the CBN be responsible for the monetary policy. There should be a synergy between the two.
Okay.
One. And then number two, Okuliori, the CBN should rise up its responsibility of compliance, of ensuring compliance, because most of these commercial banks are violating the CBN Act. Without any sanctions or repercussions. You understand? So if the compliance is firmly put in place, I think there could be some sanity.
All right then. Thank you very much for calling in on that, Mr. Mohammed. I appreciate your calling in. Johnson, coming back to you, did you want to add anything to the original question? In fact, that last caller also, addressed it in part. Wondering out aloud, Reverend Dominic, that why is it almost impossible to wipe out the black market? It's a crime. It's a criminal affair.
Well, I think the first thing I need to correct, there's nothing criminal about the parallel market. So if it's criminal, the government would have been prosecuting it. There's nothing criminal about the parallel market. The parallel market evolved as a result of the economic conditions of the country.
Okay.
My colleague
so it's not illegal. Effectively, it's not illegal.
About the parallel market. Basically, what has happened is that, or has continued to happen, because we believe with it since the beginning of this country. We've done import licensing. The import licensing is about FS allocation. We've tried all sorts of allocation mechanisms to distribute. We've always lived in a country where there was short supply of FS compared to the demand. And basically, when you have short supply of a product compared to the demand, you have to find a way of rationing it, which is what the central bank does by allocating FX. Either when we're using the what they call import license to allocate FX, or now they use any other method they use to allocate FX. Once you allocate not enough to meet the global demand or the universe of demand, what will happen is that people who cannot get will look for source to get. And when they look for source to get, even those who have gotten it may want, if they don't have a need for it, they may come to the market to sell it at the markup. But assuming they don't even sell to the markup, then it simply means that because you are allocating at a fixed rate, then those who are bringing in from other sources will not, there will be a gap between the rate they will get or the rate you will say, you are ready to sell, because it's a short supply. So imagine opens up, like we're now talking about imagine a more than 250 naira to $1, because parallel official rate or NIFEX is about 747 naira to $1. The parallel market is more than 1,000 naira to $1. So the guy who gets his money from his brother who lives in the United States or Britain gets his dollar, maybe $1,000 will not go to the official window to sell, because he knows he will get for $1, he will get 747 naira.
Yes.
But he has someone who wants to buy it because that person is desperate. Like you want to pay your school fees, you want to pay medical bills. You are in a desperate situation. You are ready to pay a premium above the parallel official rate, and then the guy will rather sell to you than to sell at a lower rate. So it's a commercial decision that people are taking.
So I take
legislate that up.
So I take your correction, Johnson, that there's nothing illegal about it. It was an evolution that got us to where we are at. And part of that is based on the... But when they keep on referring to it as black market rate, even in official publications, we were talking about the black market rate, and people tend to know that black market is... But Johnson has explained it.
The black market has its own problems, counterfeiting and other likes.
Yes.
So the risk is high and it's not encouraged.
Yeah,
whether it's criminal or not, government must discourage it. The biggest problem you have with the black market is that it takes a lot of resources, foreign exchange, out of the regulated markets. Why do you have the regulated market? It gives room for planning, for regulation, for efficiency. Unfortunately, everything that happens in the black market outside of planning, outside of government, outside of government reserves. So the money you can use for different purposes is tied down to outside the banking system.
And it is said to be a substantial...
Yes. What government must do ultimately is to begin to shrink that market, begin to make sure that every legal activity can be funded from the exchange, from the regulated market. That's number one. Then look at other things. What are the things funded from the black markets? If there are things government on its own can provide through swaps, through government-to-government transactions that will involve flow of foreign exchange, direct flow of foreign exchange, then government must begin to do those things. For instance, there was a time government used to give concession for rice importation. I keep talking about it. One of the advantages is that government can regulate what's coming in, going through the exchange, the normal channel, payment, everything, quality can be assessed, and that takes that transaction entirely away from the black market. Indeed. But what we do now is that the black market funds all of that presently. So they take the money, they make sure the money doesn't go to the banking system, goes to the black market. So government should identify those items that are fueling activities in the black market and begin to think of whether we produce them locally or whether we use government-to-government contacts, swap and all the likes to bring them in, so that we begin to have less activities in the black market. But what we have now, the black market is so buoyant to the extent that they can't make government policy and the monetary system to work.
Okay. Johnson, in closing, I think you said earlier that, look, we didn't arrive here in a day. And so it's going to take a bit because people are sort of enthusiastic at the advent of a new administration and are looking forward, hopefully, following all of the trips abroad of the president and his team. But I guess caution is to be advised that it's not necessarily going to get better anytime very soon. Is that right?
Well, it will require a lot of hard lifting or heavy lifting for us to get the economy on the bend or on the mend. One of which is that we must address the issue of crude production, which will help us earn a higher volume of foreign exchange. Then we must build areas of unmet demand, which will open up the economy and restore confidence for investors coming to the economy. And then we must address the issue of insecurity in the northern part of the country, the food base of the country, so that we improve on food production and engage in import substitution, so that some of the food we currently import will what is produced locally. These three elements must be done, and then we must also address the issue of refining petroleum products locally, so that will cut down import bills for refined products. These four elements, you will agree with me, are not things you will do overnight.
Indeed.
So they will take some time, but let's start from the one that is, you can call it short to medium term, which is the issue of improving crude production. We need to address this agreement in the Niger Delta regions to improve crude production and enhance revenue from export of crude, like other countries who are producing crude are enjoying today.
Well, thank you very much, Johnson. Mr. Johnson Chukwu, Economist, CEO, Cowrie Assets Management Limited, for being on our program today. Thank you, as always. And Cowrie, in studio here, in addition to what he said, we have to find a way to increase our dollar acquisition. And as opposed to, needing dollars because there's so much that we have to import and pay for with dollars. And Nigeria, it was the former President Buhari who was, in his anger had said that even toothpicks, we thought he was going to be able to do something about it. Even toothpicks are imported by Nigerians. I don't know. There must be all sorts of devices by which we can sort of bring our, consumption and therefore demand for the dollar down, right?
Yes, it's not rocket science.
It's not.
It's accountability, developing the economy, making sure that what comes to Nigeria from different sources, they are used for the good of the country. A lot of rent taking within the economy will always depress, reduce the value of the Naira. The problem with the Naira is simply because we have not done the right thing over the years.
So, well, now we have a central bank governor who has a reputation for, policies and sticking to the rules. And we'll see how far
it must cut down. The governors, the ministers, everybody in the public space must make sure that they do the right thing. Use Nigerian money for the good of the greater majority of the Nigerian people.
Thank you very much, Kade. Mr. Kade Uedeji, economist, with us this morning.
Thank you very much for having me.
Okay, that's our program. Please join us tomorrow for a fresh edition. I'm Yori Folarin. Bye-bye for now.
The TVC News at 7 and the TVC News at 10 are not like any other news broadcast.
It's the big news hour, the hour for the big breaking stories.
We've got some of the best reporters on the field,
Taking you through as it happens.
It's fast-paced, hard-hitting,
With investigations that matter.
bringing in news that affects your life.
With sport, entertainment,